Did you see Saw?
Of course I see Saw. Moz and I see Saw all the time.
No, the movie. Did you see the movie Saw?
Oh, yeah. Great film. Almost as fun as going on a seesaw.
All right. We're on the home stretch. We're talking about the 2 failed spin-offs of the Saw franchise. But spoiler alert, one of them is actually pretty okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that sentiment.
The other one that we'll talk about first, Jigsaw, it is weak. It is so weak by all standards in my account. And it's kind of sad because based off the box office, it did very well. It did over 100 million in the box office again.
Ugh.
Clearly we wanted some more Saw in our lives. We had a 7-year break and we're like, okay, I'm ready to relapse. Let's do this again. And it did not live up to the wait.
I just can't believe this movie's called Jigsaw and he's not even really in the movie until one scene. And I just assumed it was like, the horror trend in like the mid 2000s was like, we're going to do a prequel one about the villain. So it's like, there was a Leatherface movie. There was a fucking Hannibal movie. And so I just assumed when it's called Jigsaw that it's a fucking prequel series about Jigsaw before Saw. And guess what? It's fucking not at all. It's bullshit.
Yeah. And like the whole mystery of the movie is that they tell you right off the bat that this takes place after the events of Saw 3D. And you're like, wait, so this isn't about Jigsaw. But the twist that we'll
like,
get to
maybe he's alive, and I'm like, okay. First off, we all saw his autopsy at the in fucking Saw 4, and I'm sure they flash back to it multiple times throughout the movies. We all know he's fucking dead. First off, and the fact that we all can tell this movie tries to pull the same bullshit as Saw 2 with like, oh, it's like you're watching an old trap from when Jigsaw was alive, and I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck about that because of course I am, because when the Saw doll comes in, like the creepy thing, they all go, that's not creepy, but it's like nobody goes, Jigsaw, it's Jigsaw, how could it be Jigsaw, because he's dead, right? Nobody fucking brings that up the whole movie. So I was like, okay, well, this is obviously like an old thing, because also he's the one like doing the voices and stuff on the trap, so it's definitely like in the past. So that wasn't even like a cool twist at all. It was so lame.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. It was like, I think this is the first movie where the people in the trap, like no one recognizes or says that this is a Jigsaw trap.
Yeah, I mean, even in fucking the first movie, he's like, I know of who this is. It's like, yeah, exactly. Even when he was first starting out, like he fucking, I mean, obviously they brought Dr. Gordon in to question him, but like, I feel like it's pretty common knowledge at this point. And if these people have no idea who Jigsaw is, you're like, okay, well, this happens in the past.
And that was the other thing I was wondering, because it doesn't really tell you, but I feel like we are supposed to assume that this is the first trap. Because like, that's why it's in a barn. This barn has bunkers inside of it. Like it's all over the place.
And also they're trying to just say like, oh, because it's the first trap. And that's why like the dude who ends up being the real killer of this thing is like the one that survived initially, because like John made a mistake. So he was like, this guy made a simple mistake. He doesn't deserve to die. He didn't even wake up in time. So he like over medicated him or some shit. It's like, I don't care. Also, just trying to throw in another fucking secret apprentice. Like, where was this guy through everything? Obviously, I don't care. And it was obvious it was him from the very beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, why the fuck else are we spending any time with people in the morgue? There's only one guy from the morgue in one of the movies, and he's the one doing the autopsy, and he has one line in Saw 4. So other than that, we don't pay attention to these people. I'm like, why are they helping out on this case like detectives? Yeah. Obviously, one of them's the killer, and the girl just seemed like, yeah, right.
Oh, she was like such a fangirl. I hated it.
I know.
They did that character. I'm like, okay.
I know. I knew. I was like, if she is the killer, I'll hate it, but I don't think that that's what they're doing. I think they're trying to make you think it is her, but it's the fucking guy. And then I was like, oh, wow, what a shocker. It's the guy.
Well, and then when they show the dude's scars, like when he's in the bathroom, like his scars on the back, I'm like, why would they show us that? like obviously he's the guy who got pulled into the blades and then
Yeah.
the door shut on it.
Yep.
It was just dumb.
This movie
Let's-
just sucks. Let's talk about
Yeah.
the traps, I guess.
Yeah, okay. We're gonna plow through these so we can
None
get
of
to the
them are
one that we
good.
actually
Spoiler
like.
alert.
The first one, the bucket room. This
Could
was
give a
just
shit.
this was just a ripoff of the Saw 5.
Yeah, the opening
one.
trap. Yep.
Yeah. Then we have the chain hangers and then also the syringes.
That was
That
just a
whole thing-
confusing trap. I didn't really get it, and I didn't understand what was happening or
That
what they
whole
were supposed to do.
That whole thing made me so mad because the woman's like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And it's like, so we're all gonna die. And then the dude stabs all 3 of them into her. It's like he only had to get 1 into her. Like,
Yeah.
that was literally it. She had a 33%. She had like a 66% chance of living.
And he's like, fuck you.
Ruined it.
I mean, she kind of deserved it because she wasn't going to take any of them,
Yeah.
but, fuck it.
It was just dumb. I don't even know if I consider it a trap, but the leg wire, the dude falls through and gets his leg trapped. The problem that I had with this and then also the grain silo trap was, so what if they went into the grain silo first?
Yeah, like what if nobody got stuck in the leg trap?
Yeah, like so then that's just the end.
That's what I'm saying. Jigsaw would not leave that room for error because like everything has to go perfectly according to plan, obviously. And I feel like he's always like, maybe just like, I know that guy, I'll do that. But it's like, how do you know that guy will do that? I feel like you don't know that about everybody.
Yeah. And then the whole and then it also like we're in a barn. And so like the whole kind of vibe of Saw, like the dark and dirty thing, it's just weird because it's like in a barn, it's during daylight, you see the sun. Like I don't know if it's supposed to be like, oh, this is something different. I'm like, I don't know, it takes me out of it.
Everything about this movie just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a Saw movie. It looks like it's too new and polished and just shitty.
Yeah. So then we get the cycle trap, the motorcycle one. I think this is the worst trap in the entire series because it looked so bad. Like it was
looked
so CGI.
Yeah. Oh, everything was in this movie. None of it looked real. Everything with CGI just looked shit.
Yeah. But it was just like, yeah, when he was going through and then he gets blended up, I was just like, this looks so bad. Like at least the bad Saws, there's
practical real
some
effects,
like realism that makes the traps at least gruesome. This was just like, okay, cool. Then we get the bad shotgun trick.
I didn't care. Yeah.
I thought it was kind of neat that he put the keys in there, but like, cool.
Sure.
That's about it.
That's just because you're like, everything about this sucks. And then the final trap, right? That's the last one. After that one is the
then we get the laser collar,
laser face.
Yeah.
I like that one. If it were done practically, but it was so obvious when it first went off on the guy that it was like not really working because he didn't get like burnt at all. It was just he exploded.
It's just
with
his
blood.
neck blew up.
Yeah, and I was like, this is weird. That doesn't make any sense. It was so obvious. And then when they actually did it, that would have been way cooler with special without like CGI because like he ended up looking like the Demogorgon afterwards.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, this is way too much.
Yeah, it's like at least if they would have done that with practical, I would have been like, maybe that actually would have looked cool. But I think that's all we have to say about this movie.
Yeah. So
everything sucks and I hate it.
I'm gonna wrap up my thoughts of this. This movie essentially plagiarized every other movie that came before it. I got the list, okay? The ending of this movie, there's so many ending twists that happen, and they essentially take something from every single movie. So in Saw 1, they took the guy is dead lying on the floor, and then he gets up because he's not actually dead.
Yeah.
They stole that. Saw 2, the whole time thing of we watched a trap in the past.
It was a recording.
Then he recreated it with the thing. So yeah, Saw 2. Saw 3, it was a game inside of a game happening along another game. Gameception. Saw 4, they did the whole fake out of Hoffman being in the trap and then the reveal that he's Jigsaw. Did that like pound for pound. They like did the exact same thing. Saw 6, they were wrong about whose game they were playing. And then Saw 7.
You missed Saw 5, but we already talked about it.
Oh, sorry. Saw 5. They did the whole framing the cop as Jigsaw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then Saw 7, The Secret Apprentice was the doctor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No shit, Sherlock. Fuck. God,
Like,
I hate this.
There's no original ideas in this movie. It's so weak.
It's just fucking straight up garbage. I can't believe. I'm glad that Spiral exists because I feel like as much as people might rag on that one, maybe just watch Jigsaw right beforehand and you might like it a lot more because I think Jigsaw it's really just it's the most uninventive Saw movie and you don't have to work that hard to be really a good Saw movie. You know what I mean? It's like it's pretty simple if you look at the formula of what worked and what didn't, and they just were like, we'll just try a little bit of everything and see what sticks. And nothing did.
Yeah. Well, and the biggest fault of this movie is that it sucked so hard that it doomed Spiral for any sort of success.
Mm-hmm.
So let's switch over to Spiral. So Spiral, it's easily the lowest performing of the entire franchise.
It also came out during COVID. So I think it came like straight to streaming, right? Or did it go out in theaters?
No, I think it went out in theaters. It did come out in 2021, so maybe that was a part of it. But still, I don't think anyone was really that excited about it. But this is a significantly better movie. Like,
oh, it's so much better. It's actually what I would like for any spots. Wow, I can't even speak. I'm so irritated with Jigsaw still. But I think this is what a real like Saw spinoff would be. And like I think that there's some things I don't love about it, obviously. I think the biggest problem it has is that it's written by the same fuckers who wrote Jigsaw. So like obviously they're working at a just it's not going to be good off that. I mean, they brought back Darren Lynn Bousman to direct, so that's good. Chris Rock, Sam Jackson, fuck me up. I love it. But like outside of that, like it still is not perfect, but it's so much better than Jigsaw, as in like if you're going to do something that's like about this universe, at least do something different with it. And I felt like this one really did something different, and I was way more receptive to that than like just rehashing the same old shit.
Yeah, like this movie, I agree with you. Like this is the right way to do a spin-off just from the style and everything. Like this was way more like Seven than a Saw movie, which I liked. I really liked.
It had the tone of a Saw movie, like the violence and like the gore, and the traps were actually like inventive, and I felt like they actually were important to like what the person was supposed to be learning from them. So that was missing from a lot of Saws recently, I feel. So this was really nice that it was coming back to that. But yeah, I agree. Like if you're going to do something different, like the best thing that this movie does is that there's none of the original cast members returning or no secret apprentice to Jigsaw. Nothing's connected to him. They bring up Jigsaw, but it's like this person's just inspired by him. It's not actually a secret apprentice, which is so much better. I don't know why they didn't do that before.
Very refreshing.
Very refreshing. The biggest sin that this Jigsaw fake has is the voice. It just sounds like a fucking AI mixed with like some like doucher who like comments shit on the internet, who like trolls people. Like that's what it sounds like.
I could not take the voice seriously at all because it sounded like an AI, like a TikTok AI voice mixed
of like
with
an incel.
No, I was going to say mixed with Kermit the Frog.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Hello, detective.
No, you're right. It does sound like evil Kermit the Frog. You're right. They fucked that up, but I will say the pig masks are way creepier, I think, in this one. I
like the puppet.
The puppet was good. I thought that it was interesting, and like the way that it did it is something totally different. Just again, you can't knock it for that. At least it's doing something different. And Chris Rock really brought a different energy to this movie, I think.
I'm mixed on Chris Rock. I loved all the scenes where he was doing Chris Rock things.
Me too.
It was the other parts that I wasn't really bought in on. Like when he would walk away and he'd have like that menacing stare.
Yeah, when he tried to be serious or like emotional or whatever, I was just like, I don't buy it.
But like I mean, I think my favorite part of the entire movie is the Forrest Gump rant. in the very beginning. It's
That's
so
the fucking
funny.
best. That's so good. And I have always felt that way about that movie. It's like, fuck Jenny. She's the worst bitch in the fucking history of cinema. I hate her. She's actually the worst. But so I was very happy. And I love the whole thing where he's like, because they're like, well, he didn't get AIDS. And it's like, what? Was there a sequel? I didn't see Gump 2. I love all the things when he gets to be funny.
Mhm.
And you're right. I just don't really respond to the fact when he's trying to be like serious or like, I just didn't buy any of that. I appreciate what he brought to the project, but like, I just don't think he was the exact right person for this role.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been less funny and more serious if it was a different actor, but they should have gone more funny for him majority of it.
Mhm. Yeah. And like Sam Jackson was great. I
I
mean,
love it.
I'm pretty sure that like Sam Jackson just came to the set and they just told him to talk. Like, I don't even know if he knew this was a Saw movie. Like, he's
No.
just doing Sam Jackson things, and
He
I'm
said-
totally here for
He
it.
said he wanted to do it because in a Saw movie, you get a really fucking cool death, is what he said. And I love that. But he's like, I'm not going to play a character, though. Like, I'm going to be Sam Jackson in a Saw movie, which is probably, it's like a dream I never knew I had, honestly. Like, I loved seeing him in this movie. And like, the fact that he was supposed to be like, the head of the department for all the cops. And like, he's literally like, I'm going to shoot this motherfucker. Whoever fucking didn't back up my son. Who is he? I'm going to take this gun and shoot his ass. And I was like, I don't think you could talk that way if you're the chief of police. But like, I love it. I love it. It fits with Sam Jackson. I was very all about it. My one
Yeah.
gripe is that he's not in it enough,
Yeah.
He should have
Yeah.
been still the current like chief or head of the department. Like the other chick I didn't care about, and I felt like would have been better if he was in it more.
Yeah, we needed like one scene of him getting hooked up to the trap at
Mhm.
the end and him just calling the spiral dude a motherfucker. Like,
Yeah,
that's what we
exactly.
needed.
Yeah, and I think did we talk about this before? But like, where the fuck did From the Book of Saw come from?
But that we were both wondering that.
Yeah, I still have no idea because he never wrote a book. It's always tapes or fucking like recordings. It just doesn't make any sense. But
What a bummer it would have been if they didn't do the tapes thing and they just had a little notebook.
yeah, it's like he never fucking took notes. I never saw this guy writing. If anything, he was just drawing more crazy ass traps.
Yeah.
That's all he
Well-
was doing. But yeah, let's talk about the traps in this movie because they're way better.
So I'm gonna say right now, I think this movie has one of the better, just like average trap scores.
Oh, I
Like,
agree.
I think almost all the traps were really good. There wasn't any like totally weak traps. Like
No, all of
most
them are
were
pretty
really
fun.
good. There's a couple kind of meh ones, but like this is a really solid trap score.
Honestly,
a
I
whole
thought
movie.
most of the traps I felt like were pretty gruesome again, and like also like I enjoyed the inventiveness of them.
Mhm.
Again, right after Jigsaw, you're ready for anything that's like I'm ready for anything that's slightly better, and this felt like a way good step in the right direction of like this is what a Saw trap feels like.
Mhm.
You know?
So the first trap we open the movie with is the tongue-tied subway trap.
Yep, that's a great one. That's
I
fun.
thought it was really good. I was a little distracted. I was like, are people's tongues that long? It just, his tongue felt like it was really out there.
I'm just like, again, I think we've said this multiple times, but if I'm in a Saw trap, I'm weighing the amount, like how much I want to live with, like against what I'm going to be losing. Like, who wants to live without a fucking tongue, man? I'm sorry. Maybe you're born with one and it's okay because you're used to it. But like, if you've had a tongue for like 50 years and you lose it, like that's going to be a real adjustment in your later life. Like, I'm just saying, I think I would sit there and wait for the train. I think I know myself. I would not be able to do it. And I would just half-ass it like this guy does and do it right as the train hits me.
Well, I mean, if he did make it through, he's definitely going to have some marital troubles.
I was just about to say that wife's about to divorce him because if he has a nice long tongue, she's definitely out.
But I thought this was a really good trap. Like it had the Saw vibe. There was a way out. He screwed it up. Like he fell and like ripped his whole throat out. The way you get out of this trap is you bite your tongue off and then you get off. But Yeah, because
Yeah,
like
well,
when he fell, like it ripped his whole throat out of his
yeah.
mouth.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. This guy just was not really. I mean, granted, at this point, Jigsaw's dead. However long, there's been some other guy, but like he's been dealt with for like what 3-4 years. So now you're like, oh, I'm fine. But it's like if you're a dirty cop, man, I would just expect that my shit's coming to me. I don't know.
I do love the connectiveness of all the victims being dirty cops, and like
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole thing. I thought that was a really good point. It kind of reminded me just slightly, it did a lot better, but like Saw 6, how they were all revolving around that insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Totally.
there's like a continuity there. So like this was much better because it was all the dirty cops and then also just tackling the whole corrupt system, which I thought
It
was really
really.
good.
I think that was a unique perspective, and I'm glad that to see that in a Saw movie. I did, however, like I always like I'm like, come on, that line could have just been removed when Chris Rock's like, Jigsaw didn't target cops. I'm like, okay, I think you're totally not correct about any of that, actually, because I think one of the main threads as the later Saws, maybe not at the beginning, but towards the end, he was really targeting cops. I mean,
A
Saw 2,
lot of
he
cops.
started. A lot of cops are fucking they're always the one running out to the place by themselves at the end of the movie to get caught in another trap. It's just like, how do you not know that? They could have just removed. I mean, the guy who directed this movie did Saw 2, 3, 4, right? Like, how did he not go, hey, you know what? Actually, he did target the cops quite a bit. I directed a few of them, I should know.
Yeah,
Right?
Donnie Wahlberg was essentially kept alive as a meat puppet for
I
2
would
movies,
say
and then
that's
just on an
target.
ice block.
I would say that's targeting. I mean, call it what you want, but I would say he definitely targets cops. I don't know. What did you think about like the second trap? I think that one was worse than the first one, even though the
The
first
finger
one's pretty
trap.
bad. The finger trap, yeah.
That I thought that was a really, really good trap.
I liked it because it was very upsetting.
Yeah. I
Like,
kind of felt like though I felt like there's no way that he was actually going to get through that.
no, like that's another one you go, I'd rather be shocked to death instead of rip all my fingers off or rip some of them and then do that, you
Well, no,
know?
like I'm saying I don't think he could have gotten it done fast enough because like he
Oh.
was almost there, and then the thing went off, and he only took one break
Yeah,
from
well,
biting down.
I guess, but it's hard to tell. And also, like, I feel like that's like kind of the main goal with this Saw 2 is that like not Saw 2, excuse me, it's confusing, but with the Spiral movie, I do feel like the guy doesn't want them to live either. But
Mm-hmm.
like, I mean, none of them make it out alive because I think that's why I feel like the traps in this movie are a little brutal in the way that like most people wouldn't survive those. And if they did, they wouldn't want to.
I mean, I feel like they have as much chance as most of the traps by the end of the franchise because
Yeah,
like
by the end of the franchise.
people were just dying.
I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, yeah, maybe back in the glory days of Saw, people actually had a fucking shot. Or maybe you had to dig through somebody else's stomach and not even hurt yourself. I mean, those were the fucking days.
I mean, clearly that guy Fitch, he never grew up as a kid playing with those finger traps because they're not that hard to get off if you just know how to do it.
Are
But
you fucking kidding me? Ripping your fingers off? That's horrible. It's like
I'm just saying, you just push it the other direction and then they
that
come
does
loose.
not make it nice and easy. Have you ever ripped a fucking finger off? Jesus. I would have just I would say all of these traps, I would lay there and wait for death. I don't think I would fight back on any of them. They don't seem to give you a good life if you escape without a tongue or without any fucking fingers. How is he going to be anything? He won't have any fingers anymore.
Well, speaking of lying back and just dying, the hot wax trap is the next
That's
one.
the worst one for me, I think, because it's so extreme. Like that you're first off going to be burned no matter what because there's no way she's going to do it in time. And then severing your fucking spinal cord so you can't walk. It's like, Jesus, this is just like really sadistic. I guess after Jigsaw, I was like, man, these Saw movies are a real breeze. Like I felt like I could have made it through all of those fucking Saw traps in that movie. But this one, I'm like, these are actually like brutal. I don't know if I'd want to. Again, I would just probably, I mean, I don't know.
Well, and that trap gave me flashbacks of Saw 4 where I'm like, how did he set this up?
Yeah.
Like, how did he set this up in the cold case room? Also, why does the cold case room have a safe door? It's like it's like, was this building a bank before?
I
Because like
know.
has like a combination lock on it.
Also, this bitch, I'm like, okay, you know there's a fucking killer around. He's targeting all the cops. You know your ass is dirty. Like, I maybe wouldn't go waltzing down without my cell phone down to the creepy ass fucking room because Sam Jackson texted me and said to go get something. I'd go, I don't know. Why don't you come down here and we'll go together? That's what I would say. That's what people
Well,
should be doing, man. Just say
also,
no. I'm not going to go to your stupid trap, Jigsaw. You come get me and take me there. Make it
well,
hard
and
for him.
you also have to be a little skeptical if you get a text from Sam Jackson and it doesn't say motherfucker. Like,
Exactly. It didn't have any extra punctuation. Wasn't in all caps. He wasn't yelling.
go check the motherfucking cold case room. It's just a motherfucking hunch.
Exactly. I feel like there's a specific way that guy texts, and that's not it. It's not brief like that either.
And then the quote unquote trap that actually happened before that was the partners getting skinned alive thing, which that the weakest part of this movie is the reveal because it's so easy to call.
I
Because
will say, yeah.
like you should know just from that trap that he's the guy, because first off, we don't see the trap, and
There is no trap. He's just
Yeah,
skinned, but he's
just get
dead.
skinned alive. So
No, they said he was dead. They said it was post-mortem skinning. So I'm like, so they didn't even show the trap that he was a part of. So there
Oh.
was no trap. So he was just what, shot and then skinned? Obviously, that's not fucking. I mean, it's just so stupid. And it's like, of course, it's like not even just Saw, but every horror movie or in general, every movie. If you don't see someone die, they're not officially dead. Okay.
yeah.
That's what we all know. So the fact that they don't show that guy, it's too much. And then also like the flashback, it always bugs me. It's a stupid thing, but the flashback when he remembers his tattoo, it's like
Mhm.
they show it, but it's like he's doing it with his arm facing away from Chris Rock. So I'm like, how is he remembering
Yeah.
his tattoo in a scene where he couldn't even fucking see it?
It's like in Saw 5 when Hoffman's going through the files and then we're getting the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Or
Oh,
no,
you mean
yeah,
Strom? Yeah.
Strom is getting we're like,
Too many fucking detectives that I can't keep track.
yeah. So then the next one, second to last one, is the glass grinder, the glass blower. I thought that was a good trap. Like it looked good. It was rough. Like one of those things you're like, oh, that would be such a bad
It
thing
just
to
takes too long.
endure.
Yeah, takes way
But
too long. Plus,
only
Chris Rock takes forever to fucking figure shit out.
Well, and the only thing that I thought was weak about it was just the key was in the garbage can.
It was so easy.
Like it's like that's pretty simple. Like I don't know.
Again, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like also at this point, it's like I was surprised that like it seemed like Chris Rock wasn't going to save this guy. So I was like, the fact that he's like trying to save him after he's like basically already dead is kind of fucked. Like, save me at the beginning. Save me from all the torment. You know, I don't want to live when I'm all disfigured and shit after this. I think I would have severe PTSD and not be able to get over anything in life if I went through a fucking jigsaw trap. So, let alone even one of the apprentices or a spinoff. Like, I don't think any of these traps I'm coming back from.
Yeah. But yeah, and then we get the actual reveal of who the guy is.
Dun,
And
dun, dun, it's who you thought the whole time. I mean, I guess that's the one thing this and Jigsaw have in common is that you know who the killer is immediately.
yeah, but the difference of why I was less bothered with this is I knew it was him, but I thought his motivation was much better.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, the other
Like,
guy
and
had no motive.
Him explaining like that the guy that the other dude killed early in the movies, like he was the son and like he saw this, and so I thought all that was like okay, that actually makes sense. It makes sense
like
for a villain. You
felt
know?
like a real Jigsaw motive, honestly,
Yeah.
is that he's like, I'm just calling them on this shit. You know, I'm just trying to call these people out. Granted, I think he lost Chris Rock when he said, let's kill every dirty cop. It's not like, you know, let's put him in a jigsaw trap and see if they live. That's when you could tell. It's hard to find somebody like fucking, you know, you just can't find a John Kramer on the street. Most of the times they're like, no, I want them to die. You know,
Yeah.
none of his apprentices have been successful at letting anyone live through a trap.
Mhm.
They all make them so that no one can live, or they're horribly disfigured and can barely get anywhere, and then they just kill them afterwards. That's usually the trend. So it's like this felt almost like a Jigsaw motive, but it was still, you're a little bit too Hoffman Amanda for my taste. You know, you got to, if you want to get back to the pure goodness, you got to give people a fucking second chance. That's what John was all about. I'm not defending him as a serial killer, but as we go on, I think he is the best one of these. So
yeah, that's what I like. Like, he never met Jigsaw, so like he never was an apprentice or learned the
that's
stuff.
good.
His motivation is not to, help people find salvation or whatever. He's literally punishing people, and like he's trying to correct the problem by eliminating the problem at its root. So like the motivation makes sense. It's not the true Jigsaw, because Jigsaw was trying to help people. This guy's not trying to help people.
No. He is in the greater
he's a
good of
vigilante
people, I guess.
in a lot of ways.
He's like he's a dark vigilante, like a dark superhero. But I agree, the reveal is good, like for his motive, but not for like the surprise factor. I do kind of love though that Sam Jackson gets like gunned down by the cops at the end. I just not that I love that when I see a black man gunned down by the cops, obviously, but like for what the guy's point is that he's trying to make is that like the cops shoot first and ask questions later, which is 100% fucking correct in I mean, it's so relevant to today. That's one of the reasons I like this movie, I think, is like the message behind it is all like 100% what we're dealing with still. And the fact that they all kill like the ex-chief of police without even like asking questions, it just fits, right?
When he's clearly like hooked up to something.
He's literally got strings coming out of him like a puppet, and they're going, fuck it, I'm gonna kill him. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that I was a little conflicted with that, because I was like, Sam Jackson deserves the gnarliest death.
Yeah, you got a really shit Saw death for like a Saw movie.
But I was like, I do respect that it actually fit in the whole theme of
the theme of the movie,
point.
But like, I also like, I don't know. I mean, I also love to see Sam Jackson when he's dealing with intense pain. Like some of my favorite moments of his are like from Hateful Eight after he's been shot in the balls, or fucking Django Unchained once he's been shot in both the kneecaps. Like, he's just great at that. And I felt like it was a really wasted opportunity, because it was like they were draining his blood. So it was just like a slow kind of like really mediocre death. And I'm like, this is the guy that got fucking jump scare eaten by a shark in Deep Blue Sea. Okay, let's give him something a little bit better. I agree. But it fit with the overall theme.
Yeah. So that was Spiral.
We're done.
I guess, what I can say is that I was happy that this journey ended on I would say Spiral. There are things that are not so good. I think that's just kind of the deal with Darren Lynn Bousman. Like, he does some really good things, and then he does some things like, meh. But I'd say overall, it's a net positive. I would rewatch Spiral before I rewatched a couple of the Saw movies.
I will never rewatch Jigsaw unless I am in a Jigsaw trap and forced to rewatch it. And in that case, I would kill myself before I'd even have to finish that movie, because I'd go, this is better. I'd rather die than have to see this fucking shit again. And although I like that we're ending on a semi-positive note, but I think we'll end on an even better note when we finally get to see Saw 10. Saw X. Yeah. It should be Saw 8, basically, but
been hearing nothing but good things about it.
Yeah. So, on the other hand, I've heard Exorcist Believer is pure garbage, and I totally believe that. I'm a believer that Believer sucks. But Saw X, we will be seeing that at some point this month. But I think before that, or maybe after, we're going to do a ranking of all of the Saw movies.
We got to do it after we see Saw X.
Yeah, because we got to I'm not going to put that number one, obviously, no matter how fucking good it is, because the first one's the best. But I bet it'll be up there.
I think we can agree that Jigsaw takes the bottom spot from Saw 5.
I will say I forgive a lot of the transgressions that I said against 5 after seeing Jigsaw, because I had not seen it when I did that, and this was genuinely upsetting. So I apologize, 5. You're much better than that. You're still pretty terrible, but like Spiral's better than 5. 5 and Jigsaw are definitely the bottom of the barrel here, but yeah. I'm ready for something better. Let's get to some Saw X, and then we'll come back with a nice little recap.
Yeah, we're setting the bar as low as possible for Saw X.
So as long as it's better than Jigsaw.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're out here.